Man, I can't believe that you let a camera like the Panasonic S1RII Mark II turn you into an asshole. Like, what is wrong with you? You're mad at Gerald Undone because he didn't say that the S1R Mark II is a perfect camera. And so you're sweating him about that as if it's his responsibility to, like, you know, say nothing but wonderful, beautiful things about the camera, even if he doesn't feel that way. Like, what, you know, like you're accusing him of being a hater? Why, what possible reason would he have to hate on Panasonic? They send him a camera for free to review. You would think it would be the exact opposite. And as a matter of fact, a lot of YouTubers will take the camera that they get sent to them for free, which is amazing. And you know what? I'm so happy for you if you're in that club and you're one of these people that gets stuff sent to them for nothing. Like, you know what? That's pretty cool. And even if you feel the need to, like, say nothing but good things about that camera, I got no problem with that. I mean, it actually makes sense to me because you want to stay on that train, especially if they're paying you. But even if they're not paying you, they're just sending you, like they're trusting you with the $3,200 camera in this case, or like sending you to some beautiful place in the world. Of course you're going to want to say nice things about it, but not everybody's the same. And you know, the thing that I like about Gerald, and you know, Gerald, I don't know him at all, you know, but, and also the thing about me personally, I'm not like stalking gear all the time. I'm still using the original Panasonic S5. You know, I'm shooting this on a kit lens right now. Why? Because it's a YouTube video. You know, generally I use vintage lenses, anamorphic lenses, but you know, I'm not stalking gear, but when I am looking for some information about something, you could be sure I'm going to see Gerald Undone because I feel like he's going to be honest, because I love how he seems to like kind of wear his heart on his sleeve about how he feels about something. Like if he doesn't like something or if he's exasperated, his voice kind of changes. And you know, like when he talked about the Panasonic GH6 and he was just pissed off because they were like, yo, fix the autofocus. He couldn't really recommend that camera because of the streaking and the autofocus, and he was honest about it. But I like that. You know, I like that he does that. And, you know, like what possible reason would he have to do that on purpose to hurt people who like Panasonic cameras? He's just telling you the truth. He's not telling you to not buy it, you know? And by the way, even these YouTubers who just say nice things about it, it's nobody's responsibility, you know, to you that they have to like give you this information that you can now feel confident to go spend thousands of your dollars on a camera. Like, don't be stupid, you know? Like, do your own due diligence. Like, how about calling a real human being on the phone at like B&H or Adorama or somewhere like that and talking to somebody who might have real actual experience with what you're about to buy, or try to find another filmmaker or, you know, photographer or whatever. Go to Instagram, like go direct message somebody. But like, you know, to think that YouTubers are like bound to some kind of contract that they better tell you the truth. These videos are like for entertainment value to me. You know, like they're beautiful, they're commercials. These people are incredibly talented, gifted filmmakers, but it doesn't mean that they have all the answers or they give you all the correct specs. I've seen plenty of times where people give just completely wrong specs. Even the people who I respect the most, who I'm not going to mention names, but there was one time where there was a guy who I think is like maybe even more of a genius than Gerald, and he misspoke about something when I was, you know, looking for videos about the S5. And he just simply said, you know, and I didn't call him out on it. I just asked him a question. He said, you know what, you're right, I misspoke. And so we got it straight. But it happens all the time. And so what I'm saying is, don't take this stuff as gospel. Like, do your own research, do your own due diligence, be responsible before you take money out of your pocket or out of your bank account or away from your family, or, you know, not being able to pay your rent this month or not buying enough food or whatever your life is like. Like, don't put it all on these YouTubers. But you know what? Don't like, okay, so the reason I made this video is I saw that Gerald Undone made this like apology comment this morning on YouTube, and it just kind of made me laugh, but also it made me kind of sad because, you know, these are real people making these videos, right? Like Gerald has a family, he shared that, he's got a wife, he's got a daughter, I think. I know he has a kid, I think it's a daughter. And he's like a real person, you know, with real feelings. And so I know that he probably meant it to be funny, and I know it's not really that gigantic of a thing for him. However, the fact that he even felt the need to apologize, which, you know, I'm sure was tongue-in-cheek, basically he was doing this. I mean, maybe I'm kind of out of line, you know, saying some of this stuff or being, you know, this harsh, because it ain't all that deep, you know, because, I don't know, lately I've been, like, thinking a lot about, you know, I know a lot of people going through a lot of stuff right now. I got a friend who lost her sister, her mother, her niece who was in her 20s, who just dropped dead getting on a train in the Bronx, her cousin, young man, her aunt, her, like, all within a couple of months. I got a friend who, like, recently had like a massive stroke, recovered from it, and then suddenly wound up in the hospital with like heart issues. I got another friend who had a stroke. Like, I know a lot of people going through a lot of stuff. I have a friend who lost 75% of her income due to some of this federal worker stuff and grant, you know, like artist grant stuff. You know, she has all these clients and all their money is based on these grants. So 75% of her money is just suddenly gone. So, you know, she's stressed. I mean, I just, you know, like, I'm just saying this, you know, when I saw this stuff on YouTube this morning, I'm just thinking, like, really? This is what we're upset about? Like what you think because Gerald Undone gave you literal statistics, like literal numbers, you know, facts about rolling shutter, you think he's got some kind of an agenda or something like that? Like, what? Like, why? What possible reason would he have? Like, that it just is what it is. He's not saying anything. He's not making like disparaging comments about your favorite camera. And if you don't like what he says, don't watch it. But, you know, it's not just Gerald Undone. Like, people do this to each other all the time. You get in the comments. I get comments like this all the time, you know. I just ignore them. But, I mean, you get into people's comments and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with people? There's a lot of serious shit going on in the world. And this ain't it. This should be like a brief respite, like a nice little diversion from all the reality. And of course, you know what? A camera is really important to a lot of people. It might be your livelihood. But I also know that, you know, probably 90% of the people who go to these videos, it's not their livelihood, because guess what? Most professional filmmakers and photographers, they're not like jumping from camera to camera to camera every year. It's only YouTubers who do that. Nobody does that. Nobody working in the film industry is like thinking about upgrading their camera every time a new camera comes out. They don't care. If you're making documentaries, you're probably working with like an FS6 or, you know, like some old camera that just works, that is awesome. So, yeah. Maybe I'm, you know, like being a little bit too deep with it, you know, but just when people jump on each other like that, it's like, for what? For what? It's not appropriate, you know? It's not cool. But, you know, the fact that he felt the need to get up and do that, to even take 5 minutes of his time to do something like that, which he'll never get that 5 minutes back in his life. I mean, he had to type it out, he had to put a picture up, he had to post it, he had to do all the things. Probably took him a half hour. It probably pissed him off. He's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, I got to say only positive things? Listen, the S1RII is obviously an amazing camera. Every camera that has been made since like the GH7 has been like a movie-making machine. Every one of them. And I'm sure this S1R Mark II is absolutely astoundingly amazing, you know? But it seems like it has crappy rolling shutter. And I don't even know if that matters to you or if it matters to everybody. I mean, who cares? But it's got everything else. It's got all the things, you know, it's got all the stuff that people like to talk about. But I know personally, I don't care. Like, it's probably 90% of the things packed into that camera I would never use, you know? And you might say, who the fuck are you? Like, what do you do? Who are you? Like, who are you to speak on all this? Well, I just made a feature film all by myself with my Panasonic S5 using 2 vintage lenses, and guess what? I got to watch it on a big screen at Cinema Village, which is a legendary movie theater in New York City. And then I got to get an award, a feature film award at the end of that festival. And thank you to Steve Peckman, Barbara Nell, and Ian Smith, my music collaborators. It looked amazing on a big screen with a Panasonic S5, because the Panasonic S5 is ridiculously good for filmmaking. You know, there's pretty much nothing I can't do with this camera that I want to do. When I want to shoot anamorphic, I have anamorphic mode. I want to shoot in 4K, fine. If I want to shoot 4K 60, which I kind of never do, but I did use one slow motion shot in my film, I didn't mind moving back 8 feet or whatever to get the composition that I wanted. Like, I'm just saying, you probably have a camera that's already so much better than what you're doing with your camera already. That's a weird sentence right there, but I think you know what I mean. Like, what are you doing with your camera? Do you really need, like, why are you watching all these videos on the S1R Mark II? What are you going to buy it? And why are you going to buy it? Because do you have an FX3 or an A7S III? Like, do you really need to upgrade that camera? Seriously? For what? Did you just buy the Nikon Z8? Or like, why are you even thinking of upgrading to this camera? I'm just saying, you know, don't be one of these people that talks a bunch of shit behind your little keyboard, you know, getting on somebody without considering, you know, how ridiculous your comments might be and how you might hurt somebody. You don't know what somebody else is going through. You don't know what effect your words might have on somebody. It might have nothing to do with you. You might trigger something from all this other shit that's going on with somebody. And, you know, they're talking about cameras. Like, we're talking about a camera or a lens. Like, who cares? You really that upset about it? You know, you make these comments because you can. If you were in the same room with somebody, you wouldn't do it. So don't do it when you're not in the same room with them. You know, be a human being. You know, we're dealing with the internet, with AI, with, you know, we're so, you know, like, we've got so much distance between us. You know, it's not the real world. And so try to make it a little bit more real. Like, think about what you would be like, how you would act, how you would have an exchange with somebody in the real world. You know, don't just go with what you're thinking. Like, you know how sometimes people think things? Like, you know, you're mad at somebody and you're like, oh, I want to kill him. You don't really want to kill him, right? So it's the same kind of thing. You have these urges. And I don't know if it's human nature or what it is, but just like, think before you throw stuff out there. It's not really that important. It ain't all that deep. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm still going to post this whole video, but, you know, at least I realize, like, you know, I'm experiencing a lot of stuff with people you know, with people around me in my life who I care about. And so when I looked at this, I was like, fuck you. You know, like, I just talked to a friend of mine who's burying somebody in her family today. And people go through stuff like that every day. Like I said, you have no idea what people are going through, but you should always consider that. Always think about that before you just spew, you know, your anger about a rolling shutter comment. That's what I think. Actually, I'm thinking of getting an S1H, the first one, because it's got an optical low-pass filter, and that's something that's of great value to me. I've seen moire a few times on my camera. I was actually going to install an OLPF into this camera, but I was like, why am I going to spend $600-700 to do that when I could just buy an S1H that's practically brand new on eBay or MPB for like $1,300-1,400, something like that. But like, these new cameras with all this new stuff, like, I don't know. I guess if you're working for Nike or something like that and they're requiring 8K, or, you know, like, if you really feel like you need open gate, which I think is so overrated. Like, I can repurpose all my footage. I could put this in anamorphic mode and go 4:3, and it's almost open gate. Like, open gate really makes that much of a difference? I don't think so. 4K is not enough for you? I mean, 1080 is fine. You know what I mean? I don't know. I hate when people sweat each other or jump on each other and act like fucking assholes because of a camera review. What's the point? Why are you doing that? You know? What does it say about you? Sometimes I think we forget that these are people behind their cameras. There's a lot of pressure. They're trying to do well. They're earning their living doing this. Like, I don't earn a living on YouTube. You know, I am monetized, but I certainly can't earn a living doing this. But I can, now that I'm monetized, I can understand the pressure that a YouTuber who earns a living doing this must feel to get out videos all the time, to make them look great, to compete with everybody else. I mean, how many S1R Mark II videos came out yesterday? I mean, like up and down my feed is like another video. It's the same exact video. You know, everybody's telling you the specs and giving you a little bit of their opinion, but they're really just, you know, saying nice things about it. I mean, it's just, I do understand the pressure, and I do understand why all of a sudden everybody was like, I'm leaving YouTube, I quit, I'm changing because of easy mode and all this kind of stuff. But I'm just saying, don't let a camera turn you into an asshole, you know? Be an artist. You know, to be a great artist, you got to be a great person. We're always trying to be better people. We should be kind to one another. We should be considerate. We shouldn't be criticizing each other. I mean, look what's happening around the world right now. Look what's happening in this country. You might be losing your health care, right? You might be losing Social Security. Your elders are going to suffer. Children are going to suffer. People are going to die. Suddenly they're not going to be able to afford medication. There's a lot of horrible stuff going on right now. So you're going to be sweating people based on a camera? Now I feel like Debbie Downer, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like, let's encourage one another. Let's lift one another. Let's inspire. Let's be kind to one another. You know, let's help one another. Take care of one another. Look out for one another. Have each other's backs, you know? If somebody makes a mistake or if you disagree with something, then just talk to them about it, you know, like a human being. Don't be a jerk, you know, let somebody respond. You know, you don't have to get mad about it. It ain't about that. You know what I mean? Nobody's attacking you or your camera or your choices or your life. Nobody's attacking you. They're just talking about a piece of technology. Like, you mad if somebody, you know, talks about your phone? You probably are. So let's just help each other, you know, let's want the best for one another. Let's root for each other. Let's support one another. Let's do that. That's more better, you know, than all this bullshit. A lot of people going through a lot of things. Let's not make it worse for somebody by accident, you know, that, like, how bad would you feel if you hit somebody right in a moment where they are just feeling complete despair, where they're actually having a mental health break? A lot of people are dealing with mental illness. Like, how badly would you feel if you hit somebody with some negativity right at a moment when they were completely fragile, where they could perhaps, you could perhaps put them in a situation of life and death? Yo, make great art about what's happening in the world. You know, make beautiful art right now. I think we need that more than ever, you know? We just really need to lift one another, to encourage one another, to inspire one another, to be positive, to keep it upright, you know, instead of like crushing one another, especially somebody like Gerald Undone, who is providing all of this content to you for free. And you will not get better information from the company itself when they send you a camera or a lens or lights or whatever. Like, you're coming to Gerald Undone, or you're coming to Potato Jet, or you're coming to Matty Hapoya, or any of these people. They're giving you better information than you could find anywhere else. So don't sweat these people. And also, you know what? Manny Ortiz, like, there's so many people who have dealt with, like, mental health issues with this. Like, think about that. YouTube is making people, like, fall into a depression. YouTube. This is supposed to be fun. This ain't no big deal. You know what I mean? This should be happiness and joy and flowers, and, you know, this should not be something that's like a real issue in your life. And when you get a camera, like I have this S5, I am so grateful to have this camera. I have a GH5 as a backup, and I hardly ever use it because I don't have, you know, a lot of micro four thirds lenses. But I'm in love with this camera because it allows me to do everything I want to do. Like I said, I just shot a feature film with it. I'm working on another feature film right now. I make all these YouTube videos. it's incredible. I've learned so much from this camera. And I'm just so grateful for it, and I have no desire to get another camera. If it breaks, maybe I would get another camera, but I would probably get another S5. You know, I just love it so much. So anyway, but that's not here nor there. I'm going to end this video now because people are probably watching this going like this to me, but that's okay because that's how I feel. And if you're somebody who's attacking somebody like Gerald Undone, you're an asshole. So you should think about that. I made a movie recently about suicide. Danny Gewirtz made a movie recently about suicide. I know this might sound like ultra serious or whatever, but it is serious. Like, I don't know if you know who Anthony Bourdain was. Probably most people watching this do know who he was, but I'm sure nobody ever thought somebody like that would take his own life. I don't know if you know who Robin Williams was. I actually knew Robin Williams. You know, nobody ever thought he would take his own life. I'm just saying, you never know what somebody's going through. You never know what's happening in somebody's life. You never know what's going on around their life. You don't know if actually what you're criticizing might be the very thing that's keeping them going. You have no idea. So I'm just saying you should possibly consider that before you act like an asshole to somebody for making a camera review or a lens review or something like that. It's not worth it. You know what I mean? Like it's just considerate to think about something like that. And you know, I'm not even going to apologize for this. Like it's serious, you know. Like people do go through a lot, especially right now in the world. There's a lot going on, you know, there's a lot of anxiety. People are losing their jobs. Things are nothing like what they were, you know, just a few weeks ago. I know a lot of people personally who were federal workers who have lost their jobs or are possibly going to lose their jobs soon. I'm leaning forward right now because I'm trying to keep the light in my face because the sun is kind of behind the clouds. But anyway, yeah, that's what this video is about, really. You know, I don't really care about the SR1 Mark II or whatever the hell it's called. You know, and I don't know Gerald Undone, although I do respect him greatly. You know, I respect all the YouTubers. I expect the Cam Mackeys and the Potato Jets and all the people. I have a lot of respect and admiration for all of them. But sometimes I have to admit that everybody gets a little stupid, you know, like. And so, yeah, maybe a lot of people will look at this video right here as me acting kind of stupid, but it's not my intention. My intention, maybe if I move here a little bit, my intention is to just say, be kind, be nice, help one another. By the way, this thing right here, you should buy this. This is my retractable little stool that I take everywhere with me. It is so cool. You see? I think I got it on Amazon, so I'm going to put a link in the description here. And it's probably an affiliate link, so I probably get some money from it. So check it out. And yeah, please subscribe. Please hit the like button. Please consider joining my Patreon. I'm trying to get to 200 Patreon members by the end of April. I'm working on a feature film right now. I'm doing a lot of stuff right now, and I'm so grateful to have the time and the ability to be able to do it, the good health. Like, I'm just really grateful, and I'm incredibly grateful for people like Gerald and all the other people who provide all this information for us for free. I just think, like, how could you possibly take for granted that these YouTubers are spending so much time providing you with all this valuable, incredibly meaningful information for nothing? I don't see how you could take that for granted. And yeah, I'm going to end this video now. I'm shooting with the Panasonic S5, the original. I got the 20 to 60 kit lens on here right now. I'm shooting at 60 millimeters right now. I'm about 15 feet away from the camera. Now, of course, the sun is exploding on my face. And I love this camera. And I'm sure anybody who gets the SR1 Mark II is going to love that camera too. I'm sure it's amazing. but so is my little S5. All right, thanks for watching. See you in a minute. And as Gerald would say, I'm done here. I'm going to shut up now. Bye. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you. I got this Holly Landmark Max on my chest here. I hate the way this stupid thing looks. And I also have my Zoom H1N in my pocket and my Purple Panda lavalier mic. And the reason I did that was because I feel like the Purple Panda is failing somewhere between the Purple Panda and the Zoom. One of my cables is fucked up, I think, so I'm trying to figure it out. So just in case, I recorded a backup, but I hate the way this thing looks. Like, sorry about that, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm really blurry right now. I'm going to come back and get back over here. And so you understand, right? You understand. Okay, bye.